He ran through the shrubs to a clearing where several tourists had parked their cars. Trouble was brewing since most of them were fleeing and locked themselves in their cars. Since it was grizzly bear territory, the ranger carried his rifle. He ran past the cars, but what he saw stopped him. Brody merely wanted to achieve his childhood dream of becoming a park ranger. After hard effort in school, he got to train as a ranger. Before he knew it, he was patrolling the beaten paths of Yellowstone National Park, ensuring that everything was in order. That day would teach him to respect the wild. Brody McCormick was your average 29-year-old ranger from Wyoming, United States. He loved nature and peace in the wilderness. Brody, the only child of a botanist mother and zoologist father, naturally pursued biology. He always wanted to protect wildlife as a ranger. He stopped helping that day. Brody was raised on Yellowstone's wild tales. These tales from his father, who studied the park's magnificent animals, made Brody's childhood magical. His dad always cautioned these stories, which were captivating. Brody remembered the grizzly bear warnings. Grizzlies are second only to the white-coated polar bear in viciousness. Grizzlies weigh 1,700 pounds and stand 5 feet tall. They can climb trees, swim most waterways, and outrun humans. Antagonizing such terrifying creatures is a bad idea. This woman learned the hard way that grizzly bears aren't as cuddly as they appear. If you like my videos, don't forget to like or subscribe. Thanks in advance. For many, including Brody, seeing the bear attack the woman was more than a cautionary tale that would teach future generations. The incident began like most park days. After a quick stop at the park office to plan the day, Brody dashed into the wilderness to make sure visitors enjoyed the park's wildlife. He covered his park areas on his usual route. He was about to rest at the office when he heard the commotion. Tourists cheered and animals growled. Brody ran to the commotion, hoping for the best. The park had strict animal viewing rules. For one, they couldn't be closer than 100 yards to bears. Some tourists ignored these rules, but most did. The woman's classification is obvious. Brody ran through bushes to a tourist parking lot. Most of them fled and locked themselves in their cars, indicating trouble. Brody carried his rifle in grizzly bear country, hoping to avoid using it. After passing the cars, he stopped. Brody heard a deep roar from afar. The sound stopped his heart. Grizzly. As he ran toward the commotion, hoping no tourists were being mauled by the animal, he saw something that made him wish he had been off duty that day. Brody saw a raging grizzly. 2 smaller bears behind it made matters worse. He swore. A mama bear with cubs was worse than a grizzly bear. He paused before seeing her. Except for the woman smiling with her phone, everyone was locked in their cars. She appeared to be photographing the bear, who was not pleased. When the bear charged, she turned to run. Brody had to find her. Protecting their young makes mama bears more aggressive than other bears. They often maul anything in their way to protect their cubs. Brody ran to the woman with his bear spray can, dropping his rifle. The vehicles shielded him from the bear, saving him. Next, the bear stopped him. The bear stopped and turned with a warning roar. She jumped into her car to avoid the bear. A mock charge warns intruders that they are invading the bear's space. Without running, the woman would have died. She was safe from the bear, but the state's legal team would teach her a lifelong lesson. The woman was fined for park violations in court. She was imprisoned for 4 days, fined heavily, and banned from national parks and reserves for a year. Brody believed the woman deserved her sentence. She should be grateful she survived. She was lucky, many who antagonized bears were not. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again in the next video.